right, I am back with another Destiny 2 video, except this is more Destiny 2 audio because after my computer broke, something is going wrong with OBS where I can no longer record video without the thing freezing, without the video component freezing after a few seconds. So after messing around with settings for like 45 minutes, I still can't really figure it out. So for now, this is going to be audio only with some fun screenshots, because I also don't think I can record gameplay footage either on my laptop, which is not good enough to handle that apparently. So this is where we are. I do have Power GPU building my new computer, and I know they're doing that as soon as possible. So maybe I'll get this figured out for the rest of the week. But if not, enjoy this podcast version of my videos for a while. Not that like you need to stare at my face the whole time, really. I mean, honestly, but. Today's topic, I wanted to talk about something that's going on tomorrow, which is the launch of Grandmaster Nightfalls. We have two more kind of story component weeks, but tomorrow is when GMs launch. This was not on the roadmap because we don't really have a roadmap. We just have a calendar that shows kind of vague months and dates for things. There's no real dates on it. It's mostly just sort of months. We have a date for the anniversary events, but dates we've kind of had to figure out for ourselves. The reason we know GM's launch tomorrow is because that is actually indicated in-game. When you go to hover over GMs, it tells you when they're launching, and that is tomorrow. Confusingly, they are not doing the whole like thing they said about how they were going to like activate all the GMs, and then there would be like a knockout system after you completed each of them. This was some new system they came up with, so you could both guild your title early, but also so you couldn't just hyper farm one easy GM, aka Lake of Shadows, over and over again, as a way to kind of prevent that. So that is not launching. That is apparently launching somehow later in the season, which I don't really even understand unless they are doing kind of a second season of title guilding, which is something I previously suggested. So not only is that component really not ready, but I don't think GMs are ready kind of period in this season, especially where it's been pointed out that we have many, many problems with especially this current slate of GMs. And I cannot really understand why they're going to keep going forward with this when so many GM completions, I mean, even of the normal Nightfalls or normal strikes run into these issues, but it's extra frustrating when it's a GM that you are specifically farming, for loot a lot of the time, not just the clear, and you can run into a lot of these different issues. This was probably best summed up in a Reddit post from about a month ago where it talks about 3 of the strikes from the season that are strikes that people just don't like running GMs in the first place because they're kind of irritating strikes, but they're also very bugged and a lot of things just go wrong with them. So I'm going to read the list of issues here. So there's Exodus Crash, which everybody hates because of the pikes just absolutely roasting you at the beginning with like insane arc damage. And also the hyper invisible boss and the electrified floors of the final boss room, which makes it one of the most irritating boss fights in the game, especially on GM mode. But it has like actual issues besides just strike design, which are, if you wipe in the boss room, you must go backwards to kill a champion to get platinum. So if you wipe on the boss, for GMs that would take you to orbit, so I guess that doesn't apply this time, but that is an ongoing issue with Exodus. So if you were farming it below that, it is not great because you have to backtrack into the room, and that's why a lot of people have gotten gold on that and not really understood why, because they thought they killed all the champions. The boss may disappear for a lengthy time that is not intentional, so that just extends that fight even further as you try and get the invisible boss to come back, which is extremely annoying. Anti-barriers in the boss room sometimes ignore the players and just wander off. I have seen those just like go under the map a couple of times, the servitors, which are very weird. Energy beams before the tank sometimes don't appear, causing a soft lock. I have only seen this happen, I think, once or twice, but yes, that is something that can end the mission. And then for the corrupted, everyone's I don't know if Corrupted or Glassway is like the most hated GM, but it's probably one of those. Overload Hobgoblins are still broken and may not stop health regen when stunned and constantly shot with anti-overload. I have seen that a couple of times. I don't know if this has been fixed over the past month or so, but I don't know if that's true. Overload Hobgoblins may spam Seeker Bolts regardless if it's stunned or not. I have noticed that. I do not think that has been fixed. You can't get platinum at all, apparently. I didn't know if this is like a a definite permanent problem. I didn't know it was like not possible at all. I've seen like champions kind of disappearing, which is why you can't get it normally, but I didn't know you literally couldn't get platinum, so I'm not sure if that's 100% right or not, but even still, something is wrong there. The elevator cannot be activated by players. Sometimes it is only by the host. Players who quit or lag out may worsen this problem. And then wiping on the elevator part of soft lock the strike. Yeah, I've definitely run into the elevator problem many times, where it just, like, you cannot start this segment. And, like, granted, it's right at the beginning, so it's not the end of the world, but it's still very annoying. The ascendant door after the ogres can lock out team members, and then if you die to the ogres, you may respawn in the wrong realm and not be able to continue. The Fanatic Strike, what's it called? Hallowed Lair. So if you kill the tank too fast, you can soft lock the strike. When you break the shield, sometimes it does not end the tether, and you can be smashed anyway, which for a GM can kill you, especially. And then Fanatic can be soft locked by just staying immune forever, which I have also seen before. So loads and loads of these are game-breaking strike bugs that are really not making these kind of ideal to farm for GM. Like, these are already pretty irritating strikes to begin with. I would say we also have, keep in mind, the, I don't even remember what the strike is called because it's so new, but the one with Keitel and her Imperial Land Tank, which is also another extremely hard GM. So I'd say like 4 out of the 6 hardest GMs are here. I don't think Glassway's live this season, is it? If it is, that would literally be all of them, I think. I know we have Lake of Shadows, so I can't remember the 6th one, but it is kind of just a nightmare of these strikes to begin with, but it is compounded by the fact that they have just not fixed this really, really long list of ongoing issues in a way that, you know, makes this a huge chore to run, and I cannot imagine that people are going to be terribly enthused when they run into these things when they're actually trying to clear GMs for the first time. I understand that every bug has like its own levels of prioritization and, you know, different ways to fix things, and like something that may sound like an easy fix, like as actually like weeks and weeks of work, and it may not be easy, but a lot of this stuff has been happening for a very long time. Some of these since champions were even introduced into these strikes in the first place, so these are not new issues. And yet they do not seem to be patched, and now we are heading into another GM season where all of these problems are live. I could probably keep talking about GMs like as a general concept. I might save that for another video, but I would say compared to the Trials Adept loot, I am underwhelmed with a lot of the Adept loot from Grandmasters. I just don't, I mean, it's the Adept loot, but it's also the non-Adept versions. Like this season especially is kind of emblematic of that, where we got the Comedian, which is probably some of the worst rolls I've ever seen on Shotgun. And then Hothead, a rocket launcher, which does have explosive light, and yet I don't really understand how it's not just a worse version of Ascendancy, the rocket everyone gets. And now this season we have this thing where one of 2 weapons can drop at any given time, so farming for targeted rolls of Nightfall weapons is even harder. This is opposed to Trials, which now has given us direct ways to farm rolls of, you know, expensive ways, but direct ways to farm Adept and normal weapons through the new Saint system. But we don't have that for Nightfalls, and it's just down to random drops. And I don't believe they have done anything like guarantee weapon drops on GM Platinum clears, if Platinum is even possible in some of these, if it's not bugged. So I think that is an ongoing problem that people want to see addressed that has not been yet. So that is really unfortunate. I hope people don't run into too many problems with these launch tomorrow, but I guarantee you, you're going to hear about this going forward because of how many of these issues are still prevalent. So it's a long season. Maybe they can knock out some of these bug fixes, you know, as they go, but many of these have been in the game for such a long time that, you know, I don't know why they would fix something in the next month that they haven't fixed in the last like 9 months. So I guess we'll see what happens. But anyway, that's kind of my take on tomorrow's GM prospects, which are going to be a little bit dire if you ask me, and we'll see how it goes. So anyway, I'm going to go back to trying to fix my video here, and if not, maybe I'll just play New World instead and get frustrated and wait for my desktop to come. So anyway, thanks for watching or listening, mostly just listening, and I will talk to you guys soon. Take care.